Diversity, I define as 1Q, the quantitative representation of difference. It's about counting how many women, people of color, people from indigenous communities we have, how many people we have from the LGBTQ communities, and more. When we are in the land of diversity, we put resources towards building a more inclusive environment. So we'll have a committee, we'll have policies, we'll do training, we'll have a few other bells and whistles. But the problem is that when we are stuck in the land of diversity, which every single Canadian organization that I have worked with is, so let's start with that, we say we value differences, but the actual lived experience in the trenches is one of sameness. It's the, oh, we love differences, be different, please everyone, one, come all, come join us, different people. And then it's like the voices of differences show up at our doorsteps and we're like, oh, did we say you could be different? Just kidding. Leave your differences at the door, minimize your differences in favor of sameness. It's a message of behavioral sameness or a message of conformity. And because of that, because we're counting and focusing on numbers and we're pushing behavioral conformity, it feels a lot like tokenism. People feel like tokens and not a lot of shifting. And so it feels like all this work you're doing is all about tokenism and ticking a box. I don't feel really valued. By the way, in the land of diversity, that's where equality, the concept of treat everyone the same, lives. For the lawyers in the room, you'll remember this from law school as well. Equality is about, in order to yield fairness, we treat everyone the same. It's an entrenchment of sameness. And we know from the law, treating everyone the same has an adverse impact on people who come from marginalized communities because not everyone starts in the same place. So diversity is important because we need numbers. If you don't have anyone from the indigenous communities in your pipelines or in your entry-level ranks, you're not going to be inclusive. So diversity does matter, but the problem is being entrenched in diversity means being entrenched in sameness, and that doesn't work. When we're in inclusion, we have two cues. We have the quantitative representation of difference, like you can count people, but they are represented across the organization, across the leadership ranks. And we have what's called the qualitative experience of difference, the second cue. And when I say the qualitative experience of difference, what I'm talking about here is when you ask people who come from communities that have been historically marginalized and have current experiences with marginalization, how do you feel when you come into work? They'll say to you, I can bring my whole, true, authentic cultural self to work. I can do me, speak the way I want to speak, dress the way I want to dress, emote the way I want to emote, talk about what I want to talk about as it relates to my personal life, with good judgment. And I feel like it's so interesting because I just think that I don't need to add that in, but then many times in my sessions, a leader will put up their hand, usually a he will put up his hand and go, surely you mean not everything. And I'm like, surely I don't mean everything. No. So yes, with judgment, the point is you can be who you are and still have not only equal access to opportunities, but because you're thriving, you have more opportunities. That's what inclusion looks like. The qualitative experience is there. Equity is about recognizing historical legacies and current or present realities of discrimination and oppression that marginalized people experience.